So I'll ask another question here. Who here have upgraded any ERP system or any SAP ERP system in their life? Yes. And how was it? Right? I remember when I was basis, the number of notes I had to apply, the installation guides I had to read through. Well, I hope all of you are looking for some stress-free SAP landscape upgrades if possible, right? I hope so. And so that's why I, again, confirm you are in the right session. Right. So to introduce again myself, I'm Deepthi Patil. I'm the Senior Product Manager for SAP Cloud ALM here at SAP. I'm come from Philadelphia office in North America, and here I have my coworker.
Haven't started, same group.
Yeah. Hey. So we're here to, again, as the very worded topic says here, there is a lot to uncover, a lot to unpack in today's session. We're going to show you how, in reality, with a demo, how Cloud ALM, along with BTP extensions, is going to help you with your clean core journey. And there are a lot of sessions later we will show you which are in our summit planned for today through Thursday, which you can attend to get more information about this. Now, having said that, anybody who has heard about clean core here? Can I see some hands? Okay. Who amongst you have tried something or on their journey? Not yet. Okay. I hope that. Oh, okay. I see hand. That's good. And who is here? Is completely done and dusted. No one? Maybe somebody, so I can use them as customer reference? I'm kidding. So clean core, right? In this session, again, as I said, we will, because this is a first session of the day, let me quickly refresh your memory on what clean core is. Why do I need it, first of all? Some myths and facts around it. And again, as I said, we will help show you how Cloud ALM and BTP is going to help you get there. And we do have a demo for you at the end of the session. Now, as I was saying, we were talking about upgrades. So imagine a time where you don't have to spend any time doing any of your ERP upgrades. Let SAP do the hard work for you. Let us take care of that. And that's the dream. We all are dreaming, and it's going to be a reality, but there is a price to pay, which is the clean core journey. Now, let me ask you, can you relate to any of these challenges here? Most of us have to run global operations. Most of us are migrating our systems from on-premise to cloud. Well, with that, there is a constant change, either from the outside world, right, as supply chain changes happen, or your business lead is asking for any change in requirements. Now, everybody says business transformation is absolutely necessary. We agree, but everybody wants that change to happen at a lightning speed. And with all of that, individually, all of you have some KPIs to run, which are make sure the systems are running smoothly, there is no downtime. Well, I have to also drive the innovation, and I have to do all of this by keeping my team lean, my processes lean. And yes, let's not forget, we have to keep our business and IT in line with each other. Now, do you think you have the right tools to manage all of this? Yeah? Most of the customers I've talked to, they're still using Excel to manage all the information. They have Jira, they have, of course, AHA or some other third-party monitoring system to handle all of this. So what we want to show you is how Cloud ALM can be a Fitbit to your SAP landscape, that we're going to give you this single pane of glass to make sure all the changes happening in your landscape can be taken care of. So with that, now what is Clean Core? Clean Core encompasses several dimensions. And in the next few slides, I'll tell you what they are, what are the different dimensions are there. But let's take this Clean Core apart for now. Clean, as SAP says, we are keeping our systems up to date. It is fully documented, as much possible, and I stress on that, documented, unmodified system. It's efficient and it's also cloud compliant. So that's the clean part. What do we say when we say core? Core says, core means your ERP system, but not just as a system. Let's talk about the processes we run there, the data it creates, and the integrations you have between your processes. So that's your clean core for you. Now, how many of you here, and again, don't shy away, who is utilizing ECC system even today? Good. How about who of you are on S4 on-prem? Excellent. And who is already on S4 cloud? Excellent. So we have a wide variety here. The reason I ask this question is because I want to mention this is S4HANA public cloud is inherently clean by definition, but of course, a private cloud also has the principles of clean core, and that's what we're here to show you as well, how to just make sure you keep the clean core. Now, clean core is not really a new concept. When you installed, or all of us, or companies installed ERP system decades ago, we gave them a software, which a predefined process is saying, use this tool to run your processes. But when I talk to the customers about it, they say, but Dipti, no, we are different. We are different from everybody else. That's why I have to do all these customizations. I need to have extra PO field. I need to have extra reference to my PO field and whatnot. And I'm like, yes, I do get it, but there is a data that 75 to 80% of the processes are common between all the enterprises, no matter where you are, which industry you are, how many employees you have. Now, I see a lot of you are nodding. Yes, you have to run the payroll, right? You have to pay your suppliers. You have to have the shipping tracked and whatnot. So most of the processes are similar. But again, no. I do it very differently. I have this workflow where I have to have 10 people have to approve certain change request. I get it. But I want you to think about what really is different for you. Let that be your differentiating factor. If you are a grocery company which sells bulk orders, right? Now, what they are doing, and a local grocery store is doing, they're doing something very similar, right? They are selling commodities to their customers. The bulk order company says, no, I want checkouts to be as fast as possible. And some of you can relate to it, where you have these big companies, don't want to take the names, where they sell bulk goods. But the local grocery store wants you to spend as much time at the checkout lines, so you will pick that extra mint and the chocolate bar. Let that be your differentiating factor, and that is the difference or the change you have, which we are going to help you implement in the system. So let the customizations be a little bit thought out and not really see what your core system, the SAP core system, can help you with your basic processes so you don't have to worry about them. So with that, so clean core, as I said, we will be showing you the guiding principles of how to keep these basic processes intact. So tomorrow, any change coming in the system can be applied easily, and you still keep running the business and not have the downtime for upgrades or extensive regression testing. Now, what are those 5 guiding principles? It all starts with business processes, and I want to emphasize that part so much that, yes, this session is about extensions because you came with an understanding, yes, I need to manage my extensions, but before we go even to these extensions, are they necessary? So that's why we want you to look at your business processes again. Keep them simple if possible, document them. If there is any change needed tomorrow, you need to have your processes flexible. Now, extensibility, as I said, yes, you will find the difference, differentiators in your system. That's where we will have those extensions are going to help you implement it. We will talk about decouple your extensions from the standard core. That is, these differentiators, implement them either by side-by-side extensions or on BTPs, on your S4 itself, but decouple them so that you're not changing the core processes. Control your data. What is controlling data? Do you really need that data, especially when you're migrating to the cloud? Think that, do you really need that data, which was, some logs from 25 years ago, or there are some data which came out of the processes 10 years ago. Do you really need that? Keep that data clean as much possible. Integrations, use standard APIs. So to keep your systems running smoothly as much possible. And the last part is operations, because all of this is going to help you put this all together. Make sure if any changes coming from the business requirement, you're not just making the changes here, you're actually looking at the end-to-end focus. So keep that focus on. These 5 guiding principles are something, and the reason why business processes is at the top is the most important, where we want to start. We understand things are not as smooth as we say. There are different, but that's when the extensibility will come in picture. And now my coworker, Evan, is going to show you, great, these guiding principles are great, but how do I actually implement all of this? How is Cloud ALM going to help me with these principles? Thanks, Evan.
Thanks.
I got that.
Okay, so let's just go right to this guy. Okay. All right, so let's sort of map out what we have here in Cloud ALM to all of these key principles. And one thing that's really nice about Clean Core is that we're actually putting content in the roadmaps and the task list in your Cloud ALM projects. So when you go to S4, if you haven't already, we tell you exactly how to adopt extensibility for BTP side-by-side extensions, and we tell you when you should subscribe to various services, or how to get like the pipeline set up, how to do change management. If you're already live on S4, there's a separate roadmap for Clean Core for if you're already at that point. Just says, okay, now if you're already up and you want to clean the core out and start getting your developers to start using BTP, then they can start doing that using the task list we have already. So this is all part of our methodology. We can do all of our process modeling in Cloud ALM, also bring in models from Signavio if necessary, and we have dashboards as well. And DeepD will show the traceability view, so the entire requirements to deploy process is tracked, and you can see all the relationships between requirements all the way to the features, which are tied to the transports, tied to the documentation, tied to the user stories, or what have you. And then we can also do all the monitoring that's necessary. And for extensibility, I mean, when we're using the readiness check, the readiness check analyzes the current ECC system or S4 system, makes simplification items. We can bring them directly into Cloud ALM and create requirements and user stories in the project. And this is something that really adds additional content that's tailored for your situation on top of the standard best practice content that we have. And then tying this all to the build phase, we also have agile build management with sprints. We can do the deployment, we can do the testing of the extensions, and we can also instrument and monitor the BTP extensions, just like their standard SAP objects. We have a whole bunch of code that your developers will use to make that an observable object, and then we can monitor that, and this is also part of the demo that was developed. And of course, from data, we're looking at this from the readiness check and also the business transformation center, which is really data focused for conversion projects. That sort of sits as a separate application using Cloud ALM as a platform. We have our integrations where we're documenting them. We're doing our transport management, and this is what we're really going to be talking about in detail in just a moment. And we're also looking at the end-to-end tracking of everything for messaging and tying this into full stack monitoring, business service management. So we're looking at scheduled and unplanned downtimes of the production systems, automated regression testing. We provide Tricentis for this, as part of the usage rights for Cloud ALM. I almost said Solution Manager again. I got to stop doing that. Yeah. And also we can bundle changes into releases. And the real key thing here is that for a lot of customers that have been using transport management in the past, we're really not doing anything radically different. We're still connecting to the technical transport layer, but we're doing little things differently because it's a cloud environment. And at the moment, things are different than the on-premise environment. But for the sake of the demo, we're just going to focus really on these green boxes here. We're going to talk about build it, we're going to talk about monitoring them, and how we manage the transports. So I think that this was new to me back in the day because I've been at SAP almost 30 years now, so I'm a dinosaur. So I've used the old way of doing things with ABAP transports. But this is, again, this is a cloud development landscape, and this is where the sausage is all done with the developers. And there's all sorts of different ways to do development for cloud. And you can use the Business Studio, you can use Project Piper, all sorts of other things, CI/CD pipeline services for having your pipeline jobs. But the key thing is, from the Cloud ALM perspective, when we're trying to do the whole application lifecycle, we only see things when it's released to the cloud transport management. So when all the development is done and it's handed over as a fully qualified archive and it creates a cloud CTS transport, then we can detect it and we then assign it to Cloud ALM's features. So if you're working on an ABAP system from Cloud ALM, you can create a feature, you can create a transport on that ABAP development system directly from the feature. Everyone can fill it with all of their content, and then we can move it. With cloud, it's different. We have to have it come directly from development, already completed, and then we can then move to QA only when it's attached to the cloud CTS. Now, I've been told, this is not on the roadmap yet, this is changing. The cloud CTS people have indicated that they want to make the cloud transport system behave just like the on-premise CTS. So you'll be able to create an empty transport for cloud and then work with it just the same way that's the ABAP transports, and that this is planned by our cloud CTS colleagues for mid-year 2026. So this is not on the product roadmap, but so take it with a grain of salt, but this is where the development is going. So as soon as they make that enhancement to Cloud CTS, we will inherit this in Cloud ALM, and then we can also go to the feature, like you'll see in the demo, and say create new transport, and then it will just let you choose what component, and then it'll create the cloud transport. But again, this is what we'd like to see sooner than later. Last week would be better if we could do that. So now we're going to go to the demo. And so now Deep's just going to step through the whole process.
Yeah, thanks, Evan. So as Evan showed you the nuts and bolts which runs the system, let's see how the whole process comes together. Yeah. I believe most of you already have your ALM instance and how it looks like. So if I show a system, you know what's it going to look like, right? Excellent. Okay. Now here, Cloud ALM homepage. What we are today going to focus on, again, implementations and the operations tabs only. How it all's going to start is, again, we went through a fit to standard workshop with our business. Well, guess what? The business process which we have is a little bit different, and we would like to make use of extensions. We will have to create extensions now, which is okay, but let's first start documenting this information, the requirement which came from the business. Now, as you saw, I mean, what I also like about Cloud ALM is that, I write a requirement not just somewhere in Jira and then sending an email to somebody to create a transport now and all of that. It all is going to happen here. Now here, as you see, a very well-documented requirement here. This requirement is already approved and in realization phase currently. And do focus on this description. Why? Because you're going to see something fun later, because we haven't even talked about AI yet, correct? Or have you heard the AI word since morning? No, not yet. Well, why pay attention to that is the requirement is, again, documented here. As I was saying, user stories, the project task which you are going to assign it to your team members, the test cases which you need to run for this requirement, etc., and all the documentation needed, all of that is here at one place inside a project for Cloud ALM. Now, with that, looks like this application is ready to be developed. What happens next is, right, I'm talking fast, or you're too slow? Right. So what's going to happen is we are going to create a feature. Evan mentioned feature. Feature, you have to think of this as a container to move your changes to your production system. Yeah. So this particular requirement needed a feature so that you can assign your transports within them. So I created a feature which is related or linked to this requirement now. I go inside a feature and going to start now looking into start implementing it. Now, this is where I'm going to start implementation, and I'm going to hand it over to a developer who, if I may say so, is showing off something fun in SAP Build. Now, if you do remember that requirement text we had, we are going to use that requirement text, not we, the developer, is using Joule to use that requirement text to create the application. Not taking any jobs away. This is just a demo. But this is something which happens in the system today. But as you see that, the more detailed your requirement is, that information is going to help the developer to create this application and create the code needed for that. Now, again, did I say the developer was showing off? But yeah, this is fun part. As you see, the application, so the code is created. Now, what's going to happen is the developer is also going to, we are creating a UI application on top of it. And with that, the application, the risk application which a business is requesting is going to be ready. Now, as the next process happens, I'm going to skip this part a little bit.
Yes, you get to actually see it. Actually, it just wrote it, and you can actually take it for a test drive. And if you run it again, it'll make a slightly different one.
Okay.
So then it's got output. Some test data, and we're like, okay.
Yeah. And now the application will be deployed and built. This is where the next step would be, as Evan was mentioning, a cloud transport will be created, which we can basically link to the feature which we had. Yeah. So here the CI/CD service has already been integrated. That's how you will see your GitHub repository is already connected to this. Oops, it started again. Huh? Sorry about that. Okay.
And we skipped a bunch of the jobs, but they're also available there for compliance and malware scan and what have you.
Yeah. And here you will see the actual transport ID.
Yeah, this is just to show it was created. You don't actually have to look in the log or anything. It's just
you don't have to,
reference purposes. Yeah.
Because when you will go back to your features in Cloud ALM, you will start, I'm sorry, I'm mixing this up.
No worries.
Okay, there it is. So I'm going to pause this here. So here I go and edit the feature which I had just created, and I'm going to start assigning the transports here. Now, yes, in our case, we had one cloud transport, but our systems are not that easy, right? And none of the requirements are so easy. We might have multiple transport, multiple changes which need to be added to this requirement. And this is where not only just your cloud transports, but if you have any on-prem transports as well, can be combined for this feature. So just to show you that it is not just limited to your cloud transports. Okay. So once you assign the transports, now with that, what the next demo shows is, we are going to assign this transport, give it to, deploy this application now to the test system, and then assign this to a tester. Now we have to change the status of the feature to the testing after the deployment. Once the deployment is done, the tester has already started testing in the test system after the deployment happens in the test system. As you know, you've seen some of the demos in Cloud ALM. Now, all the statuses of your tests as well, you will be able to trace here. You'll be able to see the end-to-end view of what is going on with my requirement right now. So business can even come in and see, this is the requirement I had created and approved. Where are we with the development process? So in the next analytics part, you will see how you can track where you are with that requirement. Okay, is it paused? Okay, let's go to analytics. And here, as I said, in the requirement traceability, you will be able to see where we are. So in our case, we had already sent this to the testing, and looks like testing was, text execution is not completed yet. It's still in realization, but you see the full view of what's going on. Again, you can have multiple features for this requirement. You can have multiple transports assigned to them. You will be able to see that. Now, feature traceability will also give you another way of looking into what the deployment status is. that is tested. Is it ready in production yet? Not yet. It's still under testing currently. And next part is the monitoring these extensions. And we are not covering that. And I think we saw part of it in our keynote demo as well, the AI part of it, which I thought was so cool that you can ask Joule, what's going on? You know, I saw this exception. How can you help me to fix that? But here, mostly, there's no AI sprinkled, at least in this demo, but this is going to show you, you are able to look at your extensions, which you just developed. You're able to monitor them over here. So this is a real user monitoring. So for those of you know, real user monitoring does the performance checks. What is the user's performance is, depending on the device, depending on the browser they have used, etc. So you will be able to go into the details, see where the time is taking. Is it something, a back-end issue, or is it a front-end issue? And along with that, with the health monitoring, you're also able to look at the multiple systems integration. Okay. So that's a demo. Now, Evan, do you want to go to the next slide here? So
Yes.
we know 30 minutes is not enough, and there was a lot to unpack, but Evan, I'll let you tell them about the
So
sessions
we have some
can
other
attend.
sessions coming up, and these are deeper dives into Clean Core content and also options. Again, we have the dashboards for Rise with SAP, so we're doing something new. We have dashboards for our Rise customers that actually help analyze the custom code that we are gathering and give you sort of a view on a system level, how many modifications you have versus what we call compliant Clean Core, or ones that we like to see more. We also have an executive version of this, so this will give management a little view and also score them over month. We're also talking about interface management for Clean Core. That's going to be at the demo booth. That is also today. So one's at 11:15, so that's right in Spectrum B, right after this one, or whenever they start up again. I think it's 11:30. And then I'm not sure if everything's going to shift or they're going to make it up. They'll make an announcement for it. And then pretty much we're going to go down where they have some more sessions later in the afternoon. And then on the next day, we have, a deeper dive into managing the extensions and also for clean data. So those are the ones. And if you do a search in the app for Clean Core, there's a tag. And you can also just write Clean Core in the free text search, and then it will just find all the ones with that same content. All right, you can go to the next one.
Yeah, I think so. So we can take your questions now. I know we have a few minutes left. So do you have any questions? And if you have not started your Cloud ALM journey, we will, of course, have all the information. The slides are already available on our web app, but this is where all of our information about Cloud ALM is, of course, resides. And with that, I'll just open this for Q&A.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's fun, yeah.
I didn't see the integration between the BTP project with the feature. You don't have a traceability of the feature to the BTP project.
Oh, you mean, well, I mean, in this case, we're just covering it because of time, we're just recovering it just from the feature connectivity to the CI/CD pipeline and this Cloud CTS. But we didn't have time to get all of the project management side built in. So, are you talking about the BTP project in BTP or the BTP project in Cloud ALM?
No, the BTP project where you build the application, I would like to see it in the traceability report. You say you can navigate from the...
Oh, yeah. That's true. So the bars you saw in the traceability view are all hyperlinked. So you can go to the user story, you can go to the requirement. When we do the project analytics, you can also see all the features in the project as well. So you can also flip around to solution process traceability, and you can see all of the ratio of all the features, requirements, user stories by solution process. So what people like to do, what product managers like to do, they go into the traceability reporting analytics, And then they use this as a filter it and say, all right, where are my gaps? Where are the processes that don't have a user story or a test case or a document that I want to have filled out all the way? And then from this, they can build out the work list to make sure that they have full coverage of all the processes and all the requirements. And one thing that there's a session on, I believe, we're doing an app. We're doing a generative AI app that will take the content of a recorded fit to standard workshop and generate the requirements from that. And then that requirement you can then take to the build AI. So the requirement gets generated from people discussing it and organizing their thoughts in a recorded transcript. And so that's going to be part of the requirements management, where you can, when you have a process that's attached to documentation and user story, it will take the recording and that backup content and generate the requirement text. And then, of course, it says this was generated by AI. You should review it with a human before you approve it or anything. But from the customers I've talked to that have thousands of requirements coming in, this is a real time saver. So we're looking to get that out. It looks like Q1 at the moment. It doesn't use Joule. It's just generative in the system.
Any other questions?
Other questions?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's not mandatory. I mean, it really depends on your project. If you're doing agile methodology, you like to have user stories just so you have more information. This was something we brought over from like the whole focus build architecture that we had similar things. So we have it there. Again, it's totally optional. What we're looking at doing for regulated customers, and there's some other sessions on that, is making some of these things mandatory so you can force people to document. And this is all part of like this for pharmaceutical customers or regulated environments. So there's some constraints that they're trying to put in where you can't promote the change unless it's fully documented and has a PDF of the test results attached to it and things like that. So, but it's totally up to you if you want to use user stories or not. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, yeah. So when we're monitoring the custom applications with Real User Monitor, we're actually going from the browser all the way to the back end and back. We're using SAP Passport for this. That's how we can do the hops, and we can see the percentage of full request time as it goes through all the different services to the database. What I really like about it is that it also lets you sort of see if the user is using a certain browser or a mobile device. So if they're getting poor performance, but they're on a mobile device, that's different than if they're getting poor performance and they're in the office. So you can do some very deep dive root cause analysis if you get requests from customers or your end users that they have some performance issues or they have a glitch. You can actually go through the whole time box that they reported on and see all the requests from the front end and the back end. You can also do, say, a heat map of the most expensive requests, and you can see all their relationships. So that's the real visibility you get with real user monitoring. And this is something in the past, and forwards in Cloud ALM, it was only in Focus Run you had this. So now we brought this into Cloud ALM. So you still have to pay for this, so we're happy to have it in Cloud ALM now.
Okay.
I believe I did not phrase my question properly. When I'm doing end-to-end monitoring, for example, in our case, we have Salesforce integrated to our backend S4 system through MuleSoft integration platform. So in this case, when there is a problem arises, everyone is running behind everyone. And until we identify where the issue arises, it's already 4 or 5 hours of downtime for the production.
Well, okay, two things. We can monitor the interface in and out, and we can monitor the time because we're using Passport for this. We can also monitor non-SAP if that product will transmit open telemetry metrics, alerting information, and log information. So we have adopted OpenTelemetry in Cloud ALM, which made sense because we had all these cloud products and we needed different technologies. We had to be able to manage everything. So so we can bring information in from Splunk and send it out to Splunk if we needed to. We can instrument non-SAP. We can instrument Oracle database alerts and bring them into Cloud ALM if you wanted to. So it's totally up to you with OpenTelemetry if you can instrument, if you can get data or alerts for that component from another source, but if it's OTel, we can consume this in Cloud ALM and you can decide how you want to view it in your reporting.
All right. So I think we are over our time right now. But you know how we look. You'll see us next 3 days. Please stop by and ask questions. And thank you so much for your time and
Thank you, Ray.
patience with us. Thank
Thank
you.
you.